Congrats, guys, you made the company millions. To celebrate, here's a couple pizzas. I'm off to Cabo for 2 weeks. Remember, we're all family.
Gen Z has to be the most laziest, most entitled generation to ever enter the workforce. This is a statement we've all heard time and time again. As if there's never been a boomer who has hated their job. Or as if there still isn't countless Gen Xers out there who have to work until they die because the Social Security check just isn't really cutting it the way they initially planned it to, at the retirement home. And that's been another huge factor that's been causing the stir in the divide of the generations amongst Gen Z and boomers and younger generations and older folks. So, with all that being said, let's discuss in today's video what's really going on in the reality of America's declining workforce. And let's see if it's truly Gen Z to blame for this shift. And of course, just like I mentioned in every other video, if you like content like this, feel free to like, comment your thoughts, opinions below, and subscribe to see my daily uploads around here, discussing topics just like this. And I always like to give a huge shout out to all my supporters. Check out those links down below in the description. You can check those out, or you can just nod. It's up to you. Either way, let's begin today's shit show, shall we?
Why are we not talking about how fucking sick a 40-hour work week is? I'm so sorry. So you're telling me that I have to wake up at the fucking butt crack of dawn every single day?
Yeah, stupid. Look, I struggle with this because, there's obviously a lot of validity in what this young lady is saying, but it's also the crux of what's wrong with a lot of our generation in society right now, where they don't think, and no one seems to think, that they have to do anything that's remotely uncomfortable. And sure, take care of yourself, don't be exploited, don't work yourself to death, don't stress yourself into a heart attack. But at the same time, yes, life is not easy, and I think a lot of privileged people, regardless of their ethnic or cultural background, are suddenly thinking the world is entitled to them, or that they're entitled to all the perks and benefits of a good life. Yeah, at some point, you're going to have to do shit you don't wanna. And this isn't an old, angry old man telling you what's what. It's why our country is probably not going to be the country that we remember and want it to be in about 100 years, because of thinking like that. Well, I don't want to. I shouldn't have to. I'm going to work from home in my underwear and teach yoga via Zoom from my farmhouse in upstate New York. And let's be frank, guys. It's rich white liberals.
Now, I can't speak for all the other delinquents that are in Gen Z like myself, because I'm 25, so I'm pretty much the demographic for what we're talking about here. But I think what we're really trying to point out here, and really what we're trying to get at, is that the 40-hour work week was made decades ago, and back in the day, you could really actually survive and make a living off of 40 hours. Now, these days, you have to have 40 hours on one job, 40 hours on a second job, maybe 20 hours on a side gig, and then start your own business to even get ahead if you want to have one kid and live by yourself. Otherwise, you'll be shacking up with as many friends you can possibly find, pretty much just accepting any bottom barrel job you can get, and pretty much just trying to scrape by eating ramen noodles and gas station taquitos, which is pretty much my diet. But either way, we're going to discuss kind of some different ideas and factors of why this is the case, why Gen Z feels this way, and maybe some older boomers concepts of why they, some of them disagree, some of them agree on why the system is different. The overall society is not the same as it once was when they were younger. So let's continue.
A report came out a few months ago saying that 75% of Gen Z wants to start their own business. Now, why is this? Well, I think because Gen Z kind of sees through it. They don't want to work for a corporation for 40 years, and by the end, they don't even know their name. They can't afford a house anymore, and now there's layoffs coming. They just are kind of fed up and they're sick of it. So what's the alternative? Just crash out and start your own business, and if you fail, and keep failing until you succeed. That's kind of the mentality that people have. If you talk to a lot of them, they don't even want families. So what are they going to do in their free time? They're willing to put everything towards working for themselves or gaining some type of purpose and value outside of working a typical job. They don't want that anymore. You honestly have to respect the bravery and courage, but I think a lot of people underestimate the risk that goes into starting your own business and being an entrepreneur. You only see success stories nowadays online, but you don't see the other 99 entrepreneurs that failed out.
This is actually a stat that I found very surprising. Being myself, I don't know if I label myself this entrepreneur, but I've always kind of had different ventures and side hustles to make money, being that it's not always a choice or a hobby, it's a necessity. It's almost another factor of life that adds in if you want to actually survive these days. Having a side hustle used to be fun, a hobby, used to be something you do. It used to be labeled an entrepreneur. Now everybody's an entrepreneur. We're all trying to get our TikToks to 10,000 followers to be able to monetize off the creativity fund. Everybody wants a YouTube channel. It's the number one requested career out of all the, middle schoolers, high schoolers, elementary school kids, if you really look at the stats and all the studies. And at the end of the day, if you really ask anybody, they're probably selling their stuff on Facebook Marketplace. They could go to that concert, or if they're buying pull tabs at the bar, it's because they're doing something shady. It's not from their day job. And if it is, ask them what they're doing, because I want it, and I know you do too. But it's just kind of crazy to think how about, way back in the day, 40 hours was enough. The system, that's why they consider it full-time. Versus these days, and even a lot of you guys in the comments, you think, especially me being a young man, I should be working 100 plus hours, or else I should be ashamed of myself. So crazy how times have changed.
Of Gen Z and millennials complaining about working 9 to 5 have gone viral, causing older generations to call them lazy and whiny. So why do you think younger people are so turned away by the typical 9 to 5?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't believe that calling out some of these antiquated systems that don't work for the modern day workforce are lazy or whiny or complaining. I think it's incredibly brave for people to show up online and to demand systemic change and hold these institutions accountable to meet the needs of workers today. And when you think about the 9 to 5, that started in the 1920s. That's like a century ago. And we've had a lot of technological innovations that have literally created the time and space for all of us across generations to work less and have more time. But that's not what we're seeing. Across generations, people are working harder than ever. Over half of Gen Z has a side hustle. Almost half of millennials have a side hustle to make ends meet. And we really simply just want more flexibility, especially if we are getting the job done. We're not saying we don't want to work. We just need the space to rest and refill our cup so we can show up in our lives, work included, as engaged and energized as possible. And we've seen a lot of data that backs this up that benefits employers too. There are 4-day workweek studies that show that employees are more productive, and it's lowering healthcare costs and employee turnover costs for employers. So it's a win-win all around.
Yeah, we've actually covered in the past couple videos of the extreme, the drastic change in the economy, how inflation has pretty much sunk in the dollar. It's sunk. It's sinking. The ship's down. It's in the bottom of the ocean. And we're trying to find the wreckage because all the change in our pockets, I'm pretty sure they said they're going to stop making the penny. I don't know. I guess we're going to just not have change in our pockets no more. It's getting rough out here, folks. But at the end of the day, it's just crazy to think how everybody wants to say Gen Z is so lazy, and fair enough. I think there's been lazy people in every generation. I don't really think we can just label overall groups of people with anything. I think that's classism. To really, or not, no, that's the wrong word. That's, I don't know, you just can't label groups of people with stuff in any regard. That's what I learned, especially the way I look. You can't do that. So I think it's kind of funny how when it comes to generations, it's always so easy to do so. Saying that the younger generations like myself and people like myself are lazy and entitled, and the older boomers had it so good back in the day, and they don't want to help anymore. Versus if you really look in the comments, guys, there's people of all ages with so many different vast opinions. So really don't just, put one box, really don't just put yourself in a bubble. You can be yourself, you can be your own person. You don't have to label yourself with all these stereotypes. Even though they might be the average, they definitely aren't the reality. So, but yeah, I'd love to know all your guys' thoughts and opinions regarding anything discussed in this video. This isn't a super long video, but it's definitely something that I feel like we wanted to touch on around here, being that, the last few videos have been about boomers, and this video, or one of these videos soon enough, might as well be about Gen Z. Might as well trash us a little bit. Even though I know this might not be a super trash video, this is just a video to make some different comments on different opinions of younger folk and older folks, whatever. So feel free to share yours down below in the comments. I always love to read those, and you guys definitely read each other's. I love to see the respectful debates down there, so feel free to keep those going. If any of you guys do want to check out any of my other links, any of my other socials, you can check those links out down below in the description. That's always much more than appreciated. I definitely appreciate the few of you who go above and beyond and throw a few dollars towards the ramen noodle fund, because I actually want to do a little breakdown, because some of you guys on my live stream were saying that gig work is just an excuse and not work, and fair enough. I started doing gig work a couple of years ago. I've been actually doing it for about like a year and a quarter, and according to my taxes, it is still a job. I still am making money, and I kind of want to do a breakdown to compare it to what I was making back when I was working full-time for minimum wage, still doing side hustles on the side, versus what I make now. Well, I still have somewhat more control of my time. I'm still my own boss, but I still get bent over and fucked by the man no matter what I do for a living, no matter what I do in life. So, what they say is inevitable, death and taxes. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to share your guys' thoughts and opinions below. Feel free to check out any of my other videos. I have a whole long list of catalogs, and these will continue to be pumping out daily. So if you like this kind of stuff, feel free to like and subscribe. So hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Bye.